Hi. Get a little bit closer. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today is Financial Friday and I wanted to talk about a topic that I think is very important in finances, and that is the power of saying the word no. This is a topic that is kind of, I wouldn't say controversial, but I would say that a lot of people, women especially, I feel like have a real problem with the word no, that we all want to say yes to everything where we can't say yes to everything. I'm going to go into kind of my experiences, but I did see some sort of quote on Pinterest, or was it a blog I maybe read? I can't remember, but I'm kind of paraphrasing here and I wish I had the source because I just thought it was a very interesting concept. And this gal said that, I think she was a mom of 3 and was married, and she was like a stay-at-home mom, but even though she was a stay-at-home mom, she still worked part-time out of her home and had her own side business and stuff. So anytime she was asked to do something, whether it be like the PTA, whether it be like her kids, soccer team or whatever, she would always say, let me check my schedule. Every single time, even if she knew that she was available, and it made the guilt subside a little bit, which I thought was kind of amazing, that if you set up people to think that you may or may not do it, they're not going to be disappointed when in fact you have to cancel because you're just so overworked and overwhelmed and you can't make it work with your family dynamic, or you just can't make it work in general, maybe financially. So I just thought that was a really cool limitation that this individual had set for her and her family, which I don't know, I just thought that was like a really cool way to not say no, but that you could say no later. And you could really think about, like, do I want to volunteer at this thing? Do I want to do this thing? Do I not want to do this thing? And then be able to talk to them later and say, you know what, I've talked it over with my family, or I've looked at my budget and I'm just not able to at this time, but thank you so much for considering me. It just makes life, I think, a little bit easier. So I want to talk about how no has kind of empowered me to save a little bit of money, as well as once you start saying no, I feel like it becomes a lot easier because it's like a muscle. It's like a muscle you need to like work out. Like, I'm not joking here, like I kind of wish I was, but when I first started saying no to things, which is kind of when I first started getting my budget on track, like right before I had moved to Fargo, which is funny because I'm wearing my Fargo shirt today. Like right before I had moved to Fargo, I started saying no to a lot of things. I was finally kind of getting my life together and, had a little bit of a plan. I didn't start like intensely like saving and stuff like that till a little bit later. It's taken me a while to become comfortable with the word no, and now it's very easy and rolls off the tongue. I think the initial issue is the disappointment. And we can all agree that disappointing your friends and family and colleagues and people you don't even know doesn't feel good. Like we all want to be liked in life. So it's very difficult when you have to say you can't participate in something, or no, I can't do this. So I'm gonna give you some examples of what I've dealt with in my life. So the first thing let's talk about is family. My family is extremely supportive. My parents are very supportive. My brother is very supportive of anything I wanna do in life. And most of my extended family kind of know like the financial path that I was on. Some of them didn't, but that's okay. But sometimes when I would get the offer to go somewhere or do something with them, depending on if they were here in town or if it was like me flying to Florida, sometimes I would have to say, I can't be gone for 2 weeks. That's just not in the budget. The flight, and I have to hire somebody to not walk the dog, but like stay with the dog, and typically that's about $20 a day. Sometimes could be more, just depending on the situation. Everything adds up, plus the loss of income. I may not have vacation days accrued. Like, I've got to think about every single dollar and cent that is not happening because I am on a vacation, even though I'm hanging out with my family, which is great, but it's just, I need to make my priorities my priorities. So I feel like when I've had conversations with family to kind of let them down easier, it makes it easy if you kind of give a no sandwich, which is what I like to do. First thing is, thank you so much for the opportunity and thank you for thinking of me. And this can be like for anything, you guys. So, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for thinking about me for this thing, whatever it is. Unfortunately, here's the meat in the sandwich. Unfortunately, right now I have a goal of saving for a home, or I have a goal of getting out of debt, or I have a goal of whatever. And by doing this, that would derail my goal, unfortunately. Or you could just say, you know what, it's just not in the budget right now, maybe some other time. Or, you know, I have other goals in mind right now. And you could decide to go into the goal or not to go into the goal, you know, depending on who you're talking to. And then at the end, you can say, well, I hope you have a great time, you know, down in the Florida Keys, or on that vacation, or at that concert, or whatever it is. You know, like, you can kind of give a no sandwich, which I think makes life a little bit easier, especially, I feel like for us women, it is so difficult to say the words no, because we just feel like we're disappointing people, when in fact, we're just empowering ourselves to make the right decision for ourselves long term. So that's kind of like some family situations I've dealt with without getting like super specific, because it doesn't really, you know, my family doesn't care if I talk about them on the internet. So we've never really had like too many conflicts when it came to me saying no to things. I mean, I either say yes, I want to do it, or no, I don't want to do it. It's kind of just like yes or no, it's fine. But also the next kicker is going to be your friends. And I feel like friends, it's very difficult. I remember right before I left for Fargo, like I think about a year or two prior, I had a friend that was getting married, and she got married and the ceremony was lovely. However, it was in another state, unfortunately. So that would have meant that I would have had to travel. The place that it was quite remote. So I checked into the, you know, bed and breakfasts and all the other like accommodations that they had available. And unfortunately, none of them took animals. So then it was like another cost of like, okay, well, I have to get a sitter for Doyle. So that's another cost. Plus I'd have to drive there, because it was only like a state away. So it wasn't that bad, but it was something I would have to like stay overnight at, because it was like a whole day's drive. But the issue remained that it didn't align with my goals. I wanted to support my friend and be there for my friend, you know, the day they got married. Because they didn't do it in town, I just wasn't able to go. And that was very, very sad. And I was very sad that I couldn't go, but I just knew in my heart that I just couldn't risk my financial future for it. And at that point, I was just kind of like treading water, you know, like, I didn't want to just barely make it that month, you know, because there was a lot of extra expenses with the hotel, with the gas, with the wear and tear on my vehicle, with someone watching Doyle, you know, all the other expenses like going out to eat, alcohol, all of that stuff, plus a gift. You know, I ended up giving her a gift and going out to, you know, like a lunch afterwards, and, you know, obviously paying for that or whatever, but like, I just couldn't do it. I don't think I ever really went into the reasoning why with her, because I was so kind of like new to saying no. I didn't really like, I didn't fully grasp how to say no properly. You know, they had a lot of other friends and family around them that day, and you know, I don't think I was missed, but I would have loved to be there, and I had the opportunity to go, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And you do feel guilty, and I felt so guilty for not going, but I knew in the long run it was the best thing for me. And yeah, obviously we're still friends to this day, so it has no bearing on our friendship. But I feel like a lot of times that we're gonna disappoint our friends by saying no to things. Also, I've had other opportunities to like go on trips and go to like concerts and things like that, like trips to Vegas or trips to, I don't know, like Duluth or something, which is a local trip. But then, you know, you've got the food, you've got the alcohol. Usually there's alcohol involved, let's be honest. You've got the gas money. Even if you're not driving, you're still pitching in for gas money. You know, if it's somebody's birthday, you're buying them, you know, drinks or food or whatever. Like, it becomes very, very expensive. You know, I know what my budget is and how much I can spend and how much kind of blow money I have for the month. Or maybe I want to do this thing and I want to save up for 6 months just to go do this one thing in this one day. But maybe I don't. I feel like if you're just honest with your friends and family and anyone else that you're saying no to, and just saying, I've got bigger goals in mind, I want to buy a house. You know, maybe they're already at the point where they've already have a house and they understand the struggles because they've been through it. Or maybe they don't understand the struggles, but they can admire you for having other goals and doing other things with your life. And let's be honest, like, I don't think any of my personal friends in my personal life would ever say, you know what, I'm not gonna be friends with you because you said no. I can't attest for all you people watching out there, but those are just the people I surround myself with. They understand, and if they don't understand, they'll try to understand at least a little bit. But the thing is if you say no right away, they're not gonna be disappointed when maybe you back out the day before or the week before or something like that, and they're counting on you being there. It's a lot easier to be honest up front versus saying yes right away and then having to say no later, because that's never a good thing. And also, I do this with like concerts or like adventures, if that makes sense. So if it's like a water park or like a day trip somewhere or whatever, sometimes I'll say yes and sometimes I'll say no. Like if it's a concert, for example, and you have a friend buying, you know, 10 tickets for a whole bunch of people, you know, I'll say, yeah, I'm interested, but here's my budget. Here's as high as I want to go. You know, the highest amount I want to pay for this concert ticket is X amount of dollars. If it's over that, don't count me in. You know, essentially, if you're buying 10, then buy 9 if it's gonna be over this dollar amount, because that's just way above my budget and way more than I wanna spend on a night out. And that's just to get in the door. So I know that there's gonna be food and there's gonna be drinks and there's gonna be other things that we're gonna do that night too, plus parking and driving and all of that. So it gets to be a little bit more of an expensive night. But if you kind of put a cap on like, okay, the most I'll spend on this concert ticket for myself is $50 or $100 or $150. Like, you know, it depends on where you're at of how much you're willing to spend on, you know, a night. I feel like as long as you're upfront with it, it makes life a whole lot easier and a whole lot more transparent. Also, another little thing I wanted to talk about in this video, which I didn't really think of until the other day because I was actually furniture shopping for a sofa for right down there. I'm in my loft right now. Is I was at a place called Home Furniture in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, and the sales gal that I was working with, and I totally understand retail. I worked in retail for a really long time, and I get why they push credit cards because it's like at what, 20-something%, sometimes 30-something% interest rate. I mean, it's just stupid with a capital S, you know? But she asked me like 3 times if I was interested in opening up a credit card, and I hadn't even committed to buying anything at that point. But saying no to store credit cards is sometimes an art. People don't understand why you wouldn't take free money. But I'm sorry, I'm not gonna finance my groceries. Like, no. And I'm also not gonna finance a sofa, even though it might be a couple $1,000s. Like, if I don't have the money for it, I'm not gonna walk into the store. But I think they have a lot of people that are like, oh, 30 days, same as cash, blah, blah, blah. But that's just not my goal financially. So a lot of times if they keep pressing on and on like this woman did the other day, I just say, have you ever heard of Dave Ramsey? And she's like, oh, I kind of have. I said, well, I'm on that financial program. And she's like, oh, okay. I mean, she had heard of him, but never like heard of, you know, his podcast or his books or anything. And I said, yeah, debt is scary and debt is dumb. So I'm never gonna take out a credit card. I've been debt-free for several years and I will never ever take out a credit card again. I will never ever borrow money again. And she's like, oh, okay. I mean, she finally like light bulb got it and just kind of like shut up about the stupid credit card after that. But even every time I go to Target and I don't pay with a Target card, I'm not hating on Target. I'm just saying they ask every single time, and I mean, that's part of the cashier's job, I get it. But you know, some of them are pushier than others. And you know, I know they want to meet their goals and their quotas and stuff, but that's just not in my financial plan. If you have a Target card, that's great, but that's just not for me, you know? So it's just that art of saying those 2 little letters, no. I feel like that has actually ended up saving me a lot of money over the years and afforded me to buy this home in the manner that I did, and will continue to hopefully save me money. And then also think about the long-term effects of whatever that is, whether it be a trip, whether it be a vacation, whether it be a concert or an experience or going away for the weekend, or like whatever it is, just really think about the long-term ramifications. Is this gonna get you to your goal faster, or is it gonna inhibit you from getting to your goal? And if it inhibits you from getting to your goal, is that okay with you? And it's okay to have experiences. And I feel like the message of this video should really be, go have experiences. Do whatever you wanna do, but really just think about the dollars and cents of it. Just don't be so quick to say the words yes, because you may regret it and then you're gonna have a lot of disappointed people in the end, and that's always hard to deal with sometimes with different personalities and such. So anyway, I feel like I have rambled on for way too long about this topic of just the beauty of saying no and the power of saying no. But if you have any questions, feel free to post them below. I will also put my Money Talk playlist below, which is all my Financial Fridays, including all my budgets and things like that down below. If you like financial videos, make sure to give this video a good old thumbs up. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with new content for you guys at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And on Fridays, I typically do a financial related video. So feel free to hit the red subscribe button if you haven't already, because I'm here, so you might as well. Also right now, I am in the middle of doing VLULY, which is vlogging every day in the month of July. I also did June, which is VLUNE. I will put both of those playlists in the description box down below. I hope you guys can take something out of this video, and if it helped you at all, or if you have any good tips and tricks for saying no, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I would love for all of us to learn from each other of how to say no a little bit easier in our lives, and really just empower ourselves to make the best decisions for us. So anyway, I'm in a jet. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.